I actually had 4 planners, but now I'm down to 2 planners. Hi, welcome back. So today I'm going to do a planner update and show you what I'm doing currently for my planners. I think the last video I did, I shared how I went from 1 planner to 3 planners, which actually wasn't even accurate because I had totally forgot that I had a finance planner too. Or maybe I did mention that, I'm not sure, but I actually had 4 planners. But now I'm down to 2 planners. I have gotten rid of the finance planner and I'm just putting that in my regular planner stuff, and I'm actually just using these 2. So I'm going to show you what I have been doing. So first, for my work planner, nothing has actually changed here. This is exactly the same as it was the last time I did my video. So I am using a large Anne, and that is working really well. So I have all my work stuff here, any things that need to be scheduled, releases, launches, any of that kind of stuff, Bible studies, and then just YouTube, Instagram, any of that type of stuff. And then the way I was doing it is I was doing studio stuff up here, work stuff, and then content. And I would kind of split the day like that every week. The only thing I was noticing is that there were times where I would focus on the studio a lot. Like there'd be several days I focused on the studio and I got no work things done. And then there'd be times where I'd do a ton of work stuff and then no studio stuff would get done. And so here, I know I was working on the studio a lot here, and then I did a few things, work things here. And so it was kind of just, it wasn't working very well. And so what I decided to try to do is do work specific days. So I now do 2 studio days, which basically my business has 2 main things that I do, right? I do my physical shop things, and then I do my studio. And so I have decided to break my days up that way. So every week I have 2 studio days, 2 work days, and then 1 content day. Every week is different, but I do that same basic schedule. But this week I had a studio release this day, a mini release. And so I knew the day before I would need to do a ton of studio stuff. So I kind of just on Sunday, I sit down with my calendar and I plan out what days are going to be what. And then I just at the top, I write what it is. So this is a work day and I just write all my to-dos. This is a studio day, work day, studio content. And so I've been doing that this was last month. So for June, I did it. And then I'm also doing it in July, and I have really enjoyed it. And then back here, I usually just this is all my studio stuff from the last month and just more studio stuff. But I'm doing the same thing this month and I'm really liking it. So this concept has worked really well. And then a lot of times over here, I kind of just do a messy to-do list. So I have my Kanban board. So I have to do, doing, done. And then I have these inserts, and these all get moved every single month to the new month. So I kind of just do this once and I use it for several months. Once it's filled, I'll just start a new one. But I really liked doing this rather than previously. I don't even know if I have those pages, but I was no, you know what? I think it was last year. I was making charts for all of my work stuff. I was making, writing this and making these charts. And so it's nice to just have an insert that I can just pull in and out every single month. So this is my content. And then this one is launch prep. So I have all the steps. And then just for every launch, I typically only launch a few things. So I just write down what the items are, if it's been designed, and then what step I'm at. And then these are just other ideas. Back here, I have more ideas. And then I just have my to-do list here, and then just some stickers I'm working on. So that's my work planner. Now for my personal planner, I was using an Anne as well. And so I was using the Anne, and this is personal and home and finances. So it really had everything. The only thing I don't have in here is, because I took it out, but I typically would take a small rose calendar, and that would go right back here, and I would put all my finances on there because I don't really like seeing them on here, but I like to have a calendar. And the nice thing about the rose calendar is on the back is note space, So actually, I'm going to show you. So this is kind of what it looked like. So you have the calendar, and then on the back, there's no space. So I would write down like what paycheck or with this paycheck, what bills do I need to pay? That kind of stuff. So I always put that here. So that's how I eliminated my finance planner, is because it was a little redundant. It had the nice calendar. I was using the Scout. So it had the big calendar, but I wasn't using the weekly pages, and I just didn't feel like I needed it. So I feel like this is a lot better. And then it's just with me every single month. So this is what my calendar looked like in May. So this is all personal stuff, like my husband's schedules on here, my kids' schedules, any kind of school stuff, but in appointments, but just all personal, like my family stuff. And then I was using the Anne this way, where the top part, I would rewrite my schedule. So even though it was over here, I kind of like to have it here so I could like see what it was. And then I would do personal stuff, and then I would do home stuff. So personal stuff is typically like call this person, email, go to Petco. I was looking up insurances. This was an email I needed to write, print, study guide for my daughter, like just different stuff like that. And then home stuff is like, clean out the fridge, clean the cabinet, vacuum this, do this laundry, feed your starter, like that kind of stuff. So I was doing that, and that was working really well. I did actually really like this. And then in the middle, I started doing more personal stuff, like my Bible reading. So I did that for that month, and I liked it. And then for June, same thing. Got my calendar, and I just would, write my to-dos. So this is what I did for June. One thing I was kind of wondering though, is I kind of felt like, I wonder if I could use a Nancy, because the Nancy, and let me just show you a blank page of a Nancy. Nancy looks like this. So you still have your calendar, but you have two sections here. And I thought this would work really well for me because I have personal and home stuff. It wouldn't work for me just because it could kind of like, okay, work and studio, but since I'm doing specific days, it wouldn't work because then it'd be like, I wouldn't want to like go back and forth. So I just want to use one, you know what I mean? So I think this Nancy planner works really well if you have like two very distinct categories that you are like keeping track of. So I started using this. So this again is my personal calendar. This over here is my personal to-dos. So again, like go to Walmart, make a dentist appointment, that kind of stuff. And then over here, I started doing home to-dos. So just dishes and stuff like that. And then I use these stickers. That's like the laundry I was doing. One thing I really like about the Nancy is the to-do list is so much bigger. So that like weekly to-do section is a lot bigger. So I really liked that. So I started doing my cleaning focus, and then like my to-do list, and then just like a cleaning thing here. And then for this week, same thing. So I did draw a line here and kind of put my schedule here. I don't know that it's necessary. For some reason, I really like to see it here, even though it is right here. So we'll see if I continue doing this. But personal tasks, I used this cute little sticker from Planner Kate, and I drew a line. And so rather than having to do what I was doing before, which was a sticker every single day, I could just put one sticker and just know that this whole column is like anything laundry related. So I'm trying that this week. This is, again, my focus for the week. And then I have my weekly to-do list. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'm actually really, really liking it. I really like this big to-do list. Tracker is exactly the same as my other planner. And then I'm using the meal planning. And the way I really like this is because when I don't really use these two, like I kind of use them for reference, but the main thing is when I'm on my week, I just put my meals here so that I can see it. Typically, it actually over here is where you put the day. But since I can't see that when I'm on my week, I added another sticker here for that. And that way I can just be on my week, like see my month, and then see exactly like, okay, I know we're having mac and cheese tonight. I know tonight we're having leftovers. And then sometimes I'll put like things we're eating for lunch. Like I know we're going to make some Nutella sandwiches this week or whatever. So I have really liked that, being able to just see it. And then I don't have to write it every day on here because I just have the sticky notes there. So that's how I use that. And then on the back, that's like all my extra sticky notes. So if we're eating, we're eating soup, I can just grab this one and put it up here, and I don't have to like flip around and look for it. So this is kind of like my dashboard. And then I just have some other little things. This is an extra cover I had from a disc planner. I'm not actually using discs, so I decided to cut it and kind of use as a dashboard. Honestly, I'm not even using it right now, but it's super cute. And I try to make it a little bit longer than this one. That way I can like kind of see the cute pattern. But as of right now, I'm just using it as to hold sticky notes, but I do think it's very cute. And then doing the finance thing again, this is the rose. I did decide to turn it sideways. So let me see if I have another rose. So this is the like rose calendar. If you put it in here, it goes to over here. And so, which is fine. But I was like, you know what? If I just turn it, which you just turn it, it then lands like here and it doesn't cover up my to-do list. So I am now doing my finances in here and I just turned the calendar and I think I really like that. That way I can not, like it's not covering my to-do lists. And then back here, this is just like a random dashboard. I just have some homeschool to-dos. I called my city for something. A package tracker. This is how I score my tracking. So when I'm doing my habit tracker, kind of give myself a score. So I made this like simple little reference sheet. And then this is like my long to-do list. And just when something's done, I've just been highlighting it. That way I can easily see what I have left. So that's how I've been using the month. And then right behind it, I always keep this is my scrapbook. So this does come in and out. This is like one that I have cut out from a previous planner. So I just keep track of like what we did, you know, like, oh, for July 4th, here we did this, whatever. And then like I take this out, put it in my scrapbook and I add pictures. So that's my scrapbook page. I just leave it right behind the other month. That way it's just really easy to find, but this changes obviously every month. And then I have my cleaning list. And this is where I just pull my weekly stuff. So this stuff right here, I just take the sticker, I find what I'm doing, like I'm doing living room this week, I write down all those things on the sticker, and that's how I do. I was using sticky notes, but since I got some cute stickers, I'm doing that. So that stays back there. And then other than that, like just my back pages, I'm doing like a last time I have some rechargeable batteries that we can never remember what they're in. So I decided to start keeping a list so I can just remember. And then I have like my bills. Okay. And that's basically it. That's how I'm using my planner. And then depending on when this one comes out and my other videos out, the only other thing I'm doing is I'm using a journal to go with this. So I'm using a small Nancy, and this is where I just keep all of my like inventory, and then I've got goals and just like kind of extra lists, brain dumps and stuff like that. So, but that's really it. I have really narrowed down stuff. So the combination of this is working really well with the personal planner, and then I have like my extra notebook where I can keep all my extra stuff, even like the finance things, you know, like I have finance stuff in here too. And then it doesn't have to be in my actual planner. I can also reference it a lot easier because I can like just have this open, and then I can have my calendar and I can kind of like keep track of stuff. So that is what I've been using. So I'm using my journal, which is a small Nancy, but with all the pages taken out. And then I've got my large Nancy and then my large Anne. So that is what I have been doing. So I just wanted to share and show you what I have changed. But I've been doing this for a few months now, and I have really liked it. So I think this is going to be probably what I stick with till the end of the year. And I think next year I'm even going to keep doing that, keep doing the Anne and the Nancy. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video.